Hello class, today we're going to talk about solving polynomial equations, which is found in section 5-3, part 1 of your book. Our objective is to solve polynomial equations by factoring. So in example 1, we actually have two polynomial equations that we need to work on trying to find their real and imaginary solutions. So I'll do one and then erase the whole thing and then do the second, and there's our work. Alright, so for the first problem, we have 2x cubed minus 5x squared equals 3x, okay? The first thing we want to do is put that in standard form, so that means we need to move everything to the same side. So if I subtract 3x, I'm left with 2x cubed minus 5x squared minus 3x equals 0. My greatest common factor there that I should take out is x. And I'm left with 2x squared minus 5x minus 3. What's left in the parentheses I can then go on to do the AC method for. So AC will give me -6. If I keep going, that's 1 and 6, 2 and 3. The only factors that'll work to give me -5 are -2 and -3. So x is out, and I'm left with 2x squared minus 2x minus 5x minus 3 equals 0. Group and group. I'm left with, I can take a 2x out, and I have x minus 1, and on the next one I can take out a 1. Oh, that's my problem. Okay, sorry. That should not be a 5x, that should be a 3x. Let me fix that. So minus 3x. Okay, so I can take out a -3, and I'm left with x minus 1. Okay, so then my factors are going to be x, 2x minus 3, and x minus 1, all set equal to 0. So technically I have three factors set equal to 0, and those factors will be, this one will be 0, or my solutions. It'll be 0, this one here, if I add 3 and divide by 2, that's 3/2. And if I add 1 over, that one will be 1. So I have three solutions for that first polynomial equation. Alright, so let's look at the second one. The second one will be just a tad bit different, so I need to erase everything so that I'll have room. Alright, so for this next one, I need to subtract 6x cubed on both sides. Again, if I put that in standard form, I'll have, and I'm going to move it all the way to the left, I would have 3x to the 4th minus 6x cubed plus 12x squared equal to 0. Okay, it's pretty obvious here that our greatest common factor is going to be 3x squared. So if I take out 3x squared, I am left with x squared minus 2x plus 4, and it's still equal to 0. Okay, from there we could try to do within the parentheses AC, but you'll notice that AC won't work here. AC actually gives you 4, but no factors of 4, whether 1 and 4 or 2 and 2, will give you -2. So remember, whenever you run into that type of problem, then you have to do the quadratic formula. So we'll do the quadratic formula for the parts inside. Don't forget that we still, in the end, need to set 3x squared equal to 0. All right, so here we go. X equals -2 plus or minus the square root of -2 squared minus 4 times 1 times 4 all over 2 times 1. And remember, that comes from the formula x equals -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Alright, so that will give us 2 plus or minus the square root of 4 minus 16 over 2. If I keep going, that's 2 plus or minus the square root of -12 over 2. Alright, if I break down 12, and I'll do that to the side, 12 is 2 and 6, and 6 is 2 and 3, so that's really 2i radical 3, right? Because that's a pair, and then it was negative, so 2i radical 3. So this will become 2 plus or minus 2i radical 3 over 2. Both numbers in the numerator can be divided by 2, so that will leave us with 1 plus or minus I radical 3. So for our solutions, and remember I said we can't forget that 3x squared can be set equal to 0. So if I set, I'll put this in blue. So if I set 3x squared equal to 0, divide by 3 and take the square root, x will equal 0. So I actually have 3 solutions here, and they are 0, 1 plus I square root of 3, and 1 minus I square root of 3. And we're done. Okay, let's look at our try. Once again, in our try, we have 2 problems. So once again, I will work one problem, erase it, and then do the second. So the first one is kind of nice. It's already in factored form. The first factor in particular is really nice and simple for us because we have dealt with this before. This is a difference of squares. X squared and 1 are both perfect squares. So those factors, if I break down x squared minus 1, that would give me x plus 1 and x minus 1. And then I still have x squared plus 4. Okay, now this second part here, or the last part, I would actually need to do the quadratic formula for that. So to do the quadratic formula there, we would have x equals negative 0, and which we know negative 0 is just 0, plus or minus the square root of 0 squared minus 4 times 1 times 4 all over, you know what, I actually don't even have to go this route. Just thought about something. I'm not going to go this route, so let me show you what I'm going to do. Now it won't let me erase. Just a moment. All right, so since I can't erase this, which means it's probably going to stay on our slide, it's no big deal. You can continue to do that process, but I realized something after the fact. X squared plus 4, if I set that equal to 0, I can subtract 4 on both sides and have x squared equal to negative 4. Since 4 is a perfect square, if I just take the square root, that will give me x equals plus or minus 2i. So technically I already have, I didn't have to go the long route to get that as my answer. Moving on from that, don't forget that we still need to set those equal to 0. So if we set those equal to 0, they'll also be plus or minus 1. So those are our solutions for this problem. Okay, on the second one, I will go ahead and get started. I may need to erase quite a bit, but I won't be able to erase everything. So let me see. All right, so let's ignore that I have this over here. I'm just going to try and cover it up. All right, on the second one, don't forget we need to put everything in standard form. So we need to subtract 5x to the 4th on both sides and add 2x cubed on both sides. So we're left with x to the 5th minus 5x to the 4th plus 6x cubed equal to 0. Okay, our greatest common factor is going to be x cubed. So we're going to factor out x cubed, and we're left with x squared minus 5x plus 6. From there, I can do AC. AC will give me 6, and 1 and 6 and 2 and 3. Once again, the factors that will work here are negative 2 and negative 3. So I can go ahead and skip some steps because I know those factors will end up being, without me needing to replace, they'll end up being x minus 2 and x minus 3. You can kind of keep going through that if you need to see those steps done, but those will be your factors. So if I set each one equal to 0, x cubed equal to 0 would tell me that x is equal to 0. Then I would get 2 from that one and 3 from that one. And we are done. Remember, guys, if you need tutoring, come see me either before school or after school.